Hello, everybody. Andy Jacob here with the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. We are going to learn a lot today. I mean, we always love bringing leading experts in the field in their particular space on the show. And we have one on the show today that's fantastic. Her name, of course, is Lauren Mingee. She's the founder and CEO of Quintessa Marketing, and she has a very specific niche. Her and her team really are dominating the space. They're doing such great work for so many of their clients. We're going to get into it, but if you love marketing, and of course, we hope that you do, because without marketing, without advertising, without leads, most companies go nowhere very, very fast. So if you love marketing, you're going to hear about a very specific marketing approach, a very specific marketing niche today, but you're going to be able to learn so much that you're going to be able to integrate into your own company, because Lauren is a real expert in what she does, and what she and her team have been able to put together in terms of a marketing platform is remarkable, that anybody in any space can learn from. So Lauren, welcome to the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you. I mean, you do really such great work and I kind of hinted at a little bit, you're in the law space, and I love that space so much. But before we get started, let's pull the lens back to 30,000 feet. Tell us about what you do at the company, and then we have so many questions for you.
So what Quintessa does is we help personal injury lawyers get cases. That's pretty much the easiest way to describe it. But what we do at a higher level is we help people that have been injured in an accident, and we partner them with a vetted attorney. So it makes sure that they don't get taken advantage of. So we're able to do both. So that's something that we work on.
Okay, I love it. So you have this very specific niche. You really crush it in this space. You're very well known in the legal areas as a go-to person for personal injury attorneys to get, I guess, qualified leads. What brought you to want to sort of focus in on this very particular space?
You know, it was really through kind of a random chain of events. So I was working at AT&T in Oklahoma, and someone came in to buy a phone, and I actually ended up reselling him on the phone that he had gotten. And they were producing leads for personal injury lawyers, and they needed an executive assistant. And at that time, the economy had crashed in 2008. And so you go to school to get a job. And so I dropped out of college and I started kind of my path. So if you would have asked me before that, I would have said, you know, what's a PI lawyer? I had no idea. So it was really through TV commercials that I started helping, and I would drive around these personal injury lawyers. So I would just hear the conversation. And then SEO came about, so search engine optimization, and I started learning about that. And then it just really trickled. It then became intake training, and I actually became the COO of a law firm. And then I was able to take a different approach to lead gen as opposed to most marketers, because a marketer would say, hey, this lead is great, but Quintessa would say, no, it's not. And here's why, you know, from A, B, C, and D experience. So it was just through a chain of events that we were able to do it.
Yeah, I love it. And of course, that's a great story. It's a great entrepreneurial story. And anytime a company becomes a national leader, it's very interesting. And, you know, you don't just generate leads. I mean, you generate retainers that convert. And for the people that might not understand that, that's a key differentiator for you. That's a real different kind of approach that you offer to your clients. And it's remarkable. I guess we could say that that is your top proposition for your clients. So let's talk about that. Why are retainers that convert so important to your clients?
So anyone can produce, in my mind, anyone can produce a name and a phone number. But the problem is, and I guess it's just the type A coming out of me, when you put that in someone else's hands, you don't know if that intake rep at that law firm has had a bad day. You don't know if they just broke up with their boyfriend last night. So they may not be willing or able to call those leads the way that you expect the leads to be called. So what we would see is that our conversion rates were triple the rate of a normal law firm. And so what we would do is we would get it on the phone, and then we took it one step further and said, let's sign it up. And then we would live transfer it to the attorney for them to go ahead and vet further. And so we have the highest converting leads in the industry. And then they're able to at least get the hardest part over with. So they have it signed, and then they can decide, okay, this is something, yes, this is a lead that we can help with, or no, after finding, they ended up being at fault, we can't help them, but whatever may have you. So we took the hard part out of it, and just made it more turnkey.
I love it. Of course, so many people rave about it, and your retainers convert at such a high rate that your clients they must be so happy. And of course, your testimonials are remarkable. One thing that you're known for at the company, and I think our entrepreneurs watching the show, Lauren, can learn from, is you're all about the follow-up. I mean, you get a lead and it just doesn't stop there at the door. I mean, you have constant follow-up. You follow up after the lead comes in. Let's talk about that and how important that's been to the success of your company.
So, I tell everyone I've learned a million different ways on how not to run this company. So I hope people can learn from my financial experience pretty much. And so we used to sign the leads and then not do any follow-up. And we were seeing 40% of them be unresponsive. And we asked them, how often are you calling? Oh, once. Oh, twice. And so it was the same problem we were seeing from the very beginning. So what we said is, okay, well, we are going to follow up for 7 days, and we are going to text or call them 3 times a day until we get an answer. And then if they're saying they're having an issue with the attorney, or they're not getting a call back because, again, she may have broken up with her boyfriend last night or whatever may have you, then we live transfer to the attorney and we get them pretty much back in communication with them, because these people, they need help immediately, not tomorrow, not in 48 hours. So it's just speed to lead. It's, time is of the essence to make sure and take care of them.
I love it. Speed to lead. And in the lead gen space, in the marketing space, speed to lead is so important. Now, Lauren, this is an interesting, what I call business update with you. Let's talk about the types of attorneys that reach out and what are sort of the sweet spot leads that you're able to offer. And not only, of course, the leads, but the retainer leads as well.
So our bread and butter is motor vehicle accident. So including commercial motor vehicle accidents, wrongful death, work comp. Those are the type of leads that we really specialize in. So people come to us when they want volume. So we are able to provide leads at volume. And that's what really is a big differentiator for us as opposed to another lead gen. And then, mass tort is something that we've started to look into and move into. But right now we're on the world domination for motor vehicle accidents. And that's kind of the path that we're going down, because our processes, it comes down for us, the 3 Ps. So it's people, processes, and pockets. And so we have our people and our processes. And so we're now scaling to be able to bring in more attorneys and continue to just help more people.
I love it. Let's talk about the team. I mean, you're known as a great team builder. You love what the team is all about. You contribute in so many different ways to so many charities and help them build their teams. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But before we do, let's talk about your team. Why is the team so important to a business and so important to what you do at Quintessa?
If your company cannot operate without you, then you don't have a team. And that's what it comes down to. So anyone to me can have a great idea, but if your team can't take it a step further, then you'll never be able to scale and make the true impact that you need to make. So our team, because we give away half of our profit, our team is charged with, this is so much bigger than you. And it's not about you, it's about the company. And the company's values are this, and the company is set forward to do these things, and you need to align with the company and push forward. And so I think, with us, the team has to buy into the company values and the company's vision. And if you haven't bought into the vision, then you're not going to grow. And, but from that too, we take care of our team. And so for us I think it's very important. We pay well, but we bonus heavy. And for us, it's if you exceed expectations, then you should be able to reap the benefits and reap the rewards of that. And so that's been something that we've really kind of changed the industry standards, because we pay people a lot more than an average law firm or than an average lead gen. And we're just in Oklahoma, and we love it because we're not only changing the lead gen space, we're also changing people's lives here in Oklahoma based on what they're able to do financially.
Yeah, I love it. And I love that quote. That could be the name of a book or a TED Talk. It's called Pay Well, Bonus Heavy. I love that. Now,
yeah.
Lauren, you said something, and people are probably shocked watching the show because you mentioned a percentage of what you give back. We want to say that again, just so people can make sure that they heard it right. What percent of your profits do you give back to the community?
So we give away half of our profit.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Where does the money go to? What are you most proud of in the way in which you're able to help others, which I call the why you're doing
the why. So for us, we partner with probably 20 to 50. It kind of depends on the season, different charities. Our biggest, my passion is really with women, being able to help them in their time in need. Because I don't have a degree, and there was a time in my life where I was making some poor decisions. And if I didn't have my parents to help me out, I would have been in the same position that they were. And so we work with a company called Remerge that helps women with nonviolent crimes pretty much rehabilitate. And we're breaking generational curses, bringing them back into the workforce and training them on this is what it's like to hold a steady job. You don't have to sell drugs to be able to do that. So it's just changing their mindset. So Remerge is big. And then the Infant Crisis Center, the only one in the United States, they help give formula, food, diapers, clothing to 4 times a year to anyone who comes in per child until the age of 4. And so to me, if they're not even starting or set up for success, then they don't have the opportunity to even start with their expectations or even build that dream. So those are 2 that we're really big partners with. And then Life Church is one we're partnered with too, the YouVersion Bible app. They want everyone to have access to the Bible. So we're really big partners with all 3 of those. And they just make a really big impact. And that's something that we love being able to see. They specialize in what they do, and we want to help fund them to be the best that they can.
Wow. And you mentioned the YouVersion Bible app. I mean, it's already been installed on over 500 million unique devices all over the world. It's awesome. Now, one thing about you is you like to lift others up. It's just plain to see. And you like to empower people to really take advantage of new opportunities, and really also, which goes into your entrepreneurial acumen, is to grow their business skills. So when you lift up some of these people, do they end up working at the companies, or do they transition into work with you? How does all that work?
So we've started partnering with some of the companies, and some people have come to work over here. And someone who was not degreed last month, they were able to get an $1,100 bonus. And it's more money than they were even able to get being paid, like $19 an hour on top of that. And she's able to get a driver's license, and she's saving up to get a car. And so those are the stories that I just love, because that to me is like, we're making a difference in someone who wants to make a difference. And all she needed was a chance. That's it. And so that to me is, Quintessa, our motto is think different. And that's what, whether it be in our hiring or in our marketing, that's what we're trying to do.
I love it. Let's talk about leads. I love leads. Leads they make the world go round.
They do.
What happens, or has it ever happened, where a law firm reaches out to you and they say, hey, Lauren, we've heard about you and your team. We want the leads, but the law firm doesn't have the capacity or the ability to really follow up themselves on the leads. Do you offer some insight and some advice and guidance for those law firms on how to better handle the leads that you're able to provide?
So we do. A lot of people, like, let's say that, the 3 Ps are really how we qualify an attorney as well. So we talk to them about their people and processes. And so let's just say that they have the money, but they don't have the people to answer the phones. We tell them, these are the 5 programs we use to hire. these are the follow-up methods that you should use for your lead gen. These are automation tools that you should be able to use. So we sell through education, because to me, it's not even competitive. It's if you can make more money, and if I'm your best lead source, then you're going to end up investing it back into Quintessa. And so we always are telling our law firms, hey, these are either newfound tricks or what we're doing or what programs we're using to be able to continually educate.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know this is a little bit of a geeky question, but I am curious about it with the lead gen space. Mm-hmm. When somebody comes in and they come through one of your systems, one of your marketing platforms, and you speak with that customer, that potential client for your law firm who is your client, do they reach out to other companies as well? Yeah. And how fast do they do that? So is it speed to lead? What does that mean exactly?
So if let's take social media advertising. So if you are in an accident and then you go ahead and inquire on something, Facebook has an algorithm that's smart enough to be able to start saying, here's a lookalike, right? So this is something you're looking for car accident help. Here's the next one, fill this one out. Here's another form, fill this one out. So that same person may be targeted by 20 different forms to fill out. So when that lead comes in, they're called, as long as within working hours, their goal is to be called between 30 seconds and a minute from the time that it comes in. But the time that it automatically comes in, it's in a text message automatically telling them, hey, listen, you just inquired. We're here to give you help. But we've had people when we're on the phone, they're getting called from other vendor. We're like, nope, don't answer that call. You're staying with us. You're fine. Just keep talking. And so it's a very competitive industry. I mean, personal injury lawyers can make a lot of money off of these leads from taking care of them. And so it's very competitive.
Yeah. And I would imagine that connection that your team members are able to make over the phone is so important. The fact that they really care about the customer, and they're not just looking at this as an old-fashioned lead, they're looking at this as a real human being. How much time do you spend with your team getting across the fact that this is such an important part of their job to connect as a real human being to the person on the other side of the phone?
So, most of our intake people have gone through something at some point that was either traumatic or that allows them to relate to these people on the phone. So one lady who works for us, she was in an accident, and when she was in the hospital, USAA was calling her saying, let me pay you your medical bills, and let me pay you $2,500, be able for you to just go ahead and settle. She called into us. We said, listen, they're trying to settle this because it looks like there's going to be more medical, or it looks like there could be something else. You need to consult with an attorney. So why don't you just speak with them? Well, she ended up being able to get full policy limits, or close to, between a $200,000 and a $300,000 settlement. And that money changed her life. Well, then what was even cooler about that is she now works for us. So she is able to say, hey, I was in your shoes. So this happened to me. An insurance company tried to settle with me for pennies on the dollar. Let me just talk to you like you're my friend, and I would tell you not to do it. And so each one of our people are coached. We have multiple listeners listening. We have multiple trainers. So if they're not being empathetic, then they're coached on that. So even just because they're taking the call, they've got a team of probably 7-8 people listening. And then after that, we have our retention team who takes it a step further. So there's a lot of arms around these leads being able to ensure that they're being handled properly.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It all starts at the top. And of course, you're determined really to make Oklahoma a top 10 state for women, and really put together a very supportive work environment for women in the workforce. And you've spoken at the state capitol, you've met with the senators at the state about what the state can do to help Oklahoma women. Tell us about that. I mean, obviously you love Oklahoma, you love women, you love women entrepreneurs. Why is that so important to you? What touches the spark inside you with that regard?
So when I was in college, you knew you had made it if you moved to Dallas. it was you got out of Oklahoma. And to me, that is so backwards now. And you're thinking, because you look at Oklahoma and your cost of living and the opportunities that are coming here, people need to stay here. And so more people are now commuting or coming in from these other states because of the things that Oklahoma is bringing. But when Wallet Hub came out with that study, it just really frustrated me. And I was contacted by a senator, was able to speak to them. And our big platform became, why are we losing women in our company? And it was because they were making more money than what they were allowed to and losing their daycare reimbursement. So what we said was, hey, listen, we'll come in and pay part of your daycare bill. Like, don't limit yourself financially just because you're worried about government aid. Let us step in. So once we found that out, I said, what do we need to do to not lose a person because of things we can fix? And so daycare reimbursement is something really big. Because a daycare is just so expensive. It's pretty much $1,000 to $1,500 a month per child to be able to take care of them. And that's just, in Oklahoma, a lot of women don't make that. Plus food, plus clothing. And then if you have multiple kids, how can you afford that? There's no way. And so we're calling on business owners, raise your pay, bonus more. Do something more to be able to get more out of your people, but it'll end up paying off in strides. So we're trying to sell through education again, especially in Oklahoma.
I love it. It's such a powerful package that you've put together at the company. You've built a multi-million-dollar business, despite not even having a college degree, I think. So, you pursue an equal opportunity hiring process. You acknowledge each person's individuality and their potential and their skill, and you love to give back. I mean, it's remarkable. Before I let you go, I want to talk about entrepreneurship, because we'll have some younger entrepreneurs, some older entrepreneurs like me. I mean, I'm older than the dirt that I'm, walking on in the daytime.
No.
So sometimes entrepreneurs have a challenge. We have problems during our day, and sometimes younger entrepreneurs freeze in the frame. Maybe they get a little freaked out. What type of advice can you give to the younger entrepreneurs, or the older ones like me, watching the show, that are having a tough time in their business, on how to keep on pushing through?
To me, trials and tribulation and the things that happen, it really, the perseverance that you have, it ends up adding tenfold, right? And you're able to look back at that problem and see something that you weren't able to see before. But when we have a problem come up, because you're either coming out of a storm or going into a storm. That's pretty much where we're at. You may be out of a storm for a week, but there's always going to be a big problem in that moment that to you is a big problem. And I think the biggest thing that I've been able to do is say, I'm not going to react. I'm going to look at it from, if a friend came to me and said, this is the problem, I'm going to give advice on the situation, not as if it's a personal issue. And then I seek counsel. So I'm not afraid to voice, hey, this is what we're going through. So what insight do you have? Because sometimes when you're looking at that problem, you're only seeing it through your lens and not through everyone else's. And so I seek counsel, and I don't internalize it. And I stopped hiding. I think the biggest thing as an entrepreneur is to just say, I can figure it out myself. And if that's the mentality, you're never going to grow. And it can also lead to your, ultimate demise. So to me, it's ask for help and get counsel and really see if there's something, diagnose the problem and see if there's anything you could have done to fix it, and then learn from it and move on.
Yeah.
Because it's the one thing I say is that it either defines you or it'll refine you. So those are the things that I'd look at. It's either going to define you for the rest of your life, or it's going to refine you and you're going to learn from it and then move on in the future.
Wow. Define you or refine you. I love that. I'm going to steal that. That's fantastic.
You can steal it.
I like it. Now, I'm going to bring you back on the show to talk only about mentorship, because you're such a big believer in it. You not only mentor others, but you have mentors as well. I'm going to call it mentorship with Mingee. I like that.
Okay.
But listen, I want to thank
plan.
you so much for coming back on the show for the business update. It's always a pleasure to see you and hear all the great things that are happening at Quintessa, the way you're giving back and changing the world. And thank you so much for coming back on the show today.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.